I feel like rambling. I feel like rambling. I feel like just talking. And it's a healthy thing to talk your thoughts out, even if it's not somebody listening. Because you want to hear yourself actually try to explain these things, even to yourself. It's one thing to think about things, it's another level to actually discuss it, even with yourself. Most people, you know, they don't discuss anything with themselves, or even the idea that they could have a discussion with themselves. And that would, and at that point, that it would help them find a better way of coping with the world that we all are part of. Because the only way you can see the truth is to admit the truth. I think that's where a lot of us fall short with relating to other people and their ability to assess danger or situations. When somebody is saying something is a conspiracy theorist or theory, or you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're a kook, or the things that you're saying have no evidence or basis, even though that they haven't searched out this information themselves, it usually comes to a point of denial for people. People forgot that word of mouth also used to be good as gold. It used to be, because people didn't want to lie. And the way that somebody may interpret the truth that they received doesn't make it any true nonetheless, even though the person interpreted it in a different light. But I think that people, they they have to be honest with themselves in order to see the truth. Well, is it possible that, a group of people have an agenda? Maybe they don't see eye to eye on every aspect, because who do you really see eye to eye with on every aspect of life, right? But they have basic core principles and tenets that they want to see manifest in the world that they're in. It's only natural that people will pass down these things. It's only us at this time where we don't admit the truth to ourselves, that we actually see the world for what it is, right? By getting us to not believe in the Bible, by making it toxic, making it absurd, make it a myth, make it something that is incomprehensible, they literally disconnect you from your ancestral way of passing on things. I mean, you could pass on word of mouth, but a book is far better than that. I honestly believe that our ancestors made it a concerted effort to translate, to transcribe, to keep records as pure as possible with the technology that they had. Just pen and paper. Now we have the ability where we have these phones in our hands. We don't really need to go get a pen and paper. We have it literally in our hands. And admitting the truth of this situation is actually looking at all development of man, right? What is it to have light or electricity? What is it to just have that without cell phones, without computers? What is society like at that juncture? We have to admit where we're at. We have to admit the world that we've created through our own belief that the end of the world was coming, because we heard it so much from Matrix, Terminator, End of the World, 2020, 2012, everything and anything you could think of. We've had movies and stories that subconsciously lay these ideas in the back of our brains, and we manifest them. We all manifest the future together, and they know that, but you don't know that. We have to admit the truth. If you look at the historical aspect of the dark side and the light side, or just historical versus philosophy, you can actually get a good grasp of what people are trying to convey over thousands and thousands of years. We have to admit to ourselves. We also say, books. The best way to hide the information from a black man is hide it in a book. And when we look around, we're some of the most ignorant people, because we won't admit to ourselves the truth. You have to admit it to yourself. Nobody can tell you the truth. You have to admit that. That is a personal thing that one has to do. Now, one would say, well, how do I determine if something is true? There's a number of ways. There's the route of contextual criticism, first person, second person, third person, through text. Who wrote it? Why did they write it? What were they saying? Right? And the second one is God, synchronicity. Anything that is true will repeat itself. Anything that is true will repeat itself. This is why in science, the basis of science is something that is repeatable. You feel me? So at the end of the day, you have to apply that to everything. It's like, we say all these religions, but then we don't even read the books. We go off of what a person in a pulpit says, instead of actually going and reading it for ourselves. Yes, these books are daunting, but guess what? We have cell phones, we have podcasts, we have ways to listen to books in days, hours, if necessary. Why do people not take these things into consideration, I wonder? But now I'm asking myself, but are they? But they don't know what it is that they're taking under consideration because it's brand new. Admitting to yourself is the first step of acknowledging the universe and the world that you're in. You have full control and autonomy of what you do on this planet. Nobody controls you. You are the avatar, the brain, the thing that moves back and forth, left and right, makes decisions, good or bad. When you give over your power to other people by saying, you know better than me, you do it and tell me, you know how to set up government, you know how to set up the CDC. Yes, you have specialists in these things, but you could also have general knowledge. And general knowledge is usually moral, if something is morally good, right, or wrong. Right? This is how you can synchronicity through the universe and the information and people's streams of consciousness through these books. It will start to speak to you exactly what it is saying. You just have to want to hear it. You just have to want to hear it. We're in a profound time in history. Anything and everything can happen. Anything and everything can happen. There is no limit. There's no limit. By limiting yourself with can't, you diminish your light. And light has no boundaries. Light creates projections. I don't think you understand what I mean by these things, but at the end of the day, you have to admit it to yourself what you're dealing with in the reality that you are finding yourself in. Because how are you going to know the difference between here and then the metaverse in 10, 20 years? How are you going to identify if you're awake or not if you don't know who you are now? In 10, 20 years, you get jacked into one of these things, then what? Everything has its place. Everything has its place. It's about finding accurate balance of all of these things so that you are not overtaking yourself with madness and evil. Everything can be in harmony with the nature around it. You can be in harmony with your neighbor around you. That won't lead to crime and things like that, of that nature. But some people are so afraid because they don't understand unity, true unity, what that really is. Because if your bond is so tight, there's no seals, no cracks, you're literally immortal. You're immortal. You have to admit it to yourself. That's where the key is at. So, yo, I'm out, bro. Thanks for listening. Peace.